This is part 2 video. Let's get started. Hi guys. First of all, please check my description box for all the details. This is part 2 video of V-neck raglan sweater. And if you haven't watched the part 1 video, you must watch part 1 first, because in this tutorial, I'm not going to talk about how to make a plan. So after this, I am going to move on to knitting part right away. So here and there, you probably wonder why I'm doing this or why I'm talking about this, because you haven't watched part 1 video. So if you haven't, go to my description box and watch part 1 first. Okay, so let's cast on. My cast on number is 74 according to my part 1 video. And this V-neck sweater, I'm not going to knit around until the V-neck shape has done. So, increasing row number 1, wrong side. After cast on, you have to make all purl on one row, which is wrong side. And when you're making the purl, you have to add markers. As we talk about in part 1 video, you make one purl, then slide the marker A. This is everybody same. And after that, your magic number times 1 stitch. For me, my magic number is 18. So I am going to make up 18 stitch of purl. Then slide the marker B. And after that, for my back piece, magic number times 2. Again, my magic number is 18. So 18 times 2 is 36. So 36 purl, slide the marker C. Then magic number times 1 for the other side of the sleeve. Add marker D. Then at the end, purl 1. And those numbers, if you add it up, it's gonna be your cast on number. So for me, purl 1, purl 18, purl 36, purl 18, then purl 1. The total of those stitches will be 74. Again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about because you haven't watched part 1 video, I'm sorry to say again, please go to part 1 video. Anyway, so I just knit increasing row number 1. There we go again. At the beginning and end, everybody has 1 stitch. And next, both side, sleeves. So that's gotta be magic number times 1 for both sides because two sleeves. And then rest of the stitches, the back piece, which is magic number times 2. So you add markers. And those markers are Raglan markers. Increase in row number 2, right side. You will increase at the Raglan markers. And on this particular row, I want to make one right because right side of the marker. However, it's impossible. So only this time I'm going to make one left. So knit original stitch and pick up 2 down and left side of the stitch, pick up, then knit. So I increase 1. Again, I just did make one left, but supposed to be make one right. And now you have to do make one left because it's left side of marker. So knit original one, and the one down is you just create. So 2 down, pick up the left side of the previous, then knit there. I just create 1 increase again. So make one right on the right side of the marker and make one left on the left side of the marker. But on this particular row, at the very beginning, you can't do make one right. So you do make one left twice on the right side and left side. There you go. The second marker, do the same thing. Make one right this time. So 1 down, previous stitch, pick up, and then knit. Then knit original, slide the marker, and this time make one left. So knit original, then go 2 down, pick up the left side of the stitch, hook onto left, then knit 1 there. And I create 1 extra there. Then knit all the way down to next marker. And I'll show you a little zoom in. So right side of the marker, so pick up right side of previous stitch like that, hook onto left needle, then knit this extra, then knit original. Slide the marker. So this is make one left this time because left side, which means knit original first. This stitch is you just create, so you have to skip, then pick up the second down, then hook onto left needle, then knit. That's about it. And meet you at last marker right here and do same thing again. Previous right stitch, hook onto left, then knit there and knit 1. Slide the marker and make one left, so only 1 stitch left. Knit that last one and then pick up left side of the second down, then knit there. So I increase 8 stitch total and increase in row number 3, wrong side, all purl. And increase in row number 4, now I am going to increase V-neck as well as raglan line. So I meet you there. Okay, so I just finished increasing row number 3, which was all purl. Now, increasing row number 4. I am going to increase at every raglan marker, also at the very beginning and end, which creates the V neck shape right there. All right, it's simple, same method, so you don't really have to worry about anything. So you just follow the written pattern. All right, so at the very beginning, I have to make one left at the very beginning, and before the marker I have to do raglan increasing, which is make one right. So don't mix up what I'm doing. Okay, first increase will be for V-neck, so make one left, which is you have to knit original one first, right? This is for V. Always at the very beginning and end you have to increase, and pick up second down, put the left needle there, then there you go. I just increase for V neck shape, first increase, and then next, it's a little bit busy here, make one right. You know, one stitch before the marker I have to do the make one right for raglan line. So pick up previous stitch right side and then knit one there. I increase one more again and knit original, slide the marker and make one left, two down, pick up left side of the stitch and then knit there, and knit all the way down to next marker. Again, on this row you have to increase every raglan marker, and then for the V neck increase. So this is the last raglan marker. So here comes make one right, right side of the raglan marker, make one right. There you go, slide the marker, then make one left. So knit one, this is for raglan, right? And then two down, pick up the left side of the previous and then knit there. Now for the V neck you have to do make one right. So make one right means you have to just pick up previous right stitch and then knit extra first, then knit original. That's make one right. There we go. So you have to repeat those 4 rows. Okay, on the 4th row we have to increase at the very beginning and end for V neck. And row number 2 and row number 4 you have to increase. Okay, I am showing you why I have to do make one left at the very beginning. So there is the invisible marker like that. So at the end, you know, if there is the marker at the end, which means right side of the marker. So at the end, you have to do make one right, and at the beginning, make one left. That's how you remember. And everything else, you know, it's easy, right? Right side, you know, left side, but first one and end one, there is invisible marker. So you have to think, okay, this is left side and this is right side. All right. Again, you have to repeat increasing row number 1 to row number 4 until the raglan line meet under your armpit or your V-neck ends. Depend on your plan, right? So it's really hard for me to say which comes first or not. And this is actually row number 2. Okay. Again, row number 2 only increase at Raglan markers. And row number 4, as well as Raglan marker, you will have to increase at first and at the end for V neck. All right, this is last increasing for Raglan. There you go. I just did the make one right, and this is make one left. There you go. And row number 2, so no V neck increase. So just knit until the end. That's it. And row number 3, just all purl. And I'll show you row number 4. So there you go. At the very beginning, you have to increase and think about there's the invisible marker there, which means this is left side of the marker. So make one left. So knit original, second down, previous left side of the stitch, and knit there. All right, that's make one left. And row number 4, so you have to increase at every Raglan marker as well. So you already figured it out, right? It's easy, you know, simple. Just repeat row number 1 to row number 4 until Raglan line meets under your armpit or V-neck. My plan was actually quite deep V neck, so definitely I'm gonna stop my Raglan increasing way before the V-neck has done. My V-neck, I think I have to knit 68 rows, so for sure I am going to stop increasing for my Raglan line. There you go. Well, if you wait longer to stop Raglan increasing, which means you're adding more stitch, which means it's gonna be wider, oversized type of sweater. So if you like that way, you don't have to stop right after the Raglan meets under your armpit. I waited a little bit because, I kind of want to have little, relaxed size. It's not huge or oversized, but that was my plan. There we go. So I repeated quite a few times, as you can see, right? And I'm checking, make sure this is big enough or not. So this is about 7 inches. I usually knit 8 or 9 inches for my regular round neck sweater, and I put the clip on and make sure this is big enough or not, and I actually put this on and it's quite fit. I liked it. However, again, I want to have a little bit bigger size, so I knit few more. And you have to make sure this is big enough for you or not, right? And I'm a very tiny person and my cable was quite long, so I could put this on. However, if you are a little bigger size for, than me, and you didn't have the long enough cable, you have to transfer all the stitch onto scrap yarn and make sure this is good enough or not. There you go. This is my smaller V-neck sweater. Okay, I started with the smaller round neck, and I kind of put my project on. So obviously my current sweater start bigger neckline, but still not long enough for me, because this older sweater, I love that size. You know, it's very nice and relaxed size. So I decide I am going to knit few more rows, and then I'm gonna separate 2 sleeves from the body. And now I want you to look at my old sweater where the V neck ends and my armpit. Okay, with this sweater I finish my V neck first, and then I connect front piece, but my raglan line didn't finish yet. So this time, the other way around, I am going to finish my raglan increasing before V-neck. So it's really up to your project. It doesn't really matter which one comes first. So if you want to stop increasing for V-neck, you should watch that part first. All right? So here is how it looks. I put the scrap yarn, and then I wear it, and this is big enough for me. So I'm going to separate sleeves from yoke. All right? Okay, so before I move on to next level, I just want to make sure. All right? So I transfer all the stitch onto scrap yarn like this, and I wear them, make sure this is big enough. This is my desired length and everything. Okay? And I am going to separate 2 sleeves away from the yoke, right? However, some people stop increasing. I mean, the finish the V-neck before the sleeve. Depend on the how big is your V-neck, right? For me, this time I am going to stop increasing raglan line first because my V-neck hasn't finished it. Okay, so if you already done knitting V-neck, you gotta actually go to the V-neck connection part, and then come back here and watch how to separate the sleeves from yoke. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now let's move on. Separate 2 sleeves. You have to do this on row number 2 or row number 4. I'm on row number 4 because row number 2 and row number 4 is knitting side, right side, and you have to do this on right side. And row number 4, which means I have to increase for my V-neck, right? Because my V-neck hasn't done yet. However, every other raglan marker, I'm not increasing any more because I already had enough, right? So whenever you do, separate the sleeves, no more increasing except V-neck. After the V-neck increasing, just knit until the first raglan marker and remove the marker. Now you will transfer all your sleeve stitch onto scrap yarn. And I'm not going to knit sleeves until I finish whole body. So just transfer all the sleeves stitch, which is, until next raglan marker. Here comes. Now transferred. And then just tie a knot. Make sure you're not going to lose any sleeve stitch. And you should use scrap yarn for this separation of the sleeves because it's flexible, so you can wear this after, this and make sure, everything is okay. Anyway, so I tied a knot. Well, I guess I untied because it was all tangled. Well, I can tie the knot later if I want to. Anyway, now I have to connect front piece and back piece. And whenever you connect those two, that's going to be under your armpit. And I want you to add new cast. 4 to 8 stitch would be ideal. I am going to add 8 stitches. If you don't want to add any more stitch, you don't have to add any more stitch. Or if you want to add more stitch, more than 8, you can do that too. It's really up to you. However, the raglan line already met under your armpits, so the size is big enough. So it's really up to you. 4 is enough. If you really want to make big size, for whatever reason, you can add 10, 12, something like that. Anyway, I start adding new cast. Like I said, I add 8 stitches, and you have to remember this number because later on you need this number. Okay, so I add 8 new cast right there and just start knitting back piece. Just like nothing happened. That's it. And you do exactly same thing for the other side. So you just knit cross for the back piece until next raglan marker. There we go. I reach to next marker, remove it, and again with the scrap yarn, transfer all the sleeve stitches onto scrap yarn. Same as, the other side. And how many new cast I added? 8. So obviously I have to add 8. A lot of people ask me about this new cast under the armpit. Some people ask me, I want to add more. Sure, go ahead. Or I knitted it too long, so I don't want to add any new stitch. Sure, you don't have to. Okay, the customized sweater, this is the beauty of customized sweater. You can do pretty much anything you want, right? You know, depend on your preference. Anyway, so transfer all the sleeve stitches, and after that, you know, add 8 stitch, then knit till the end. And still v-neck hasn't done, so I still have to knit in flat. Anyway, there you go. This is the other side of the armpit. Add new cast, 8 stitches for me. I usually add 4 to 8. You know, bigger would be better than too small. So I always take the safer side. That doesn't mean I'm always right. Anyway, knit until the end, and remember this was increasing row number 4, which means you have to increase at the end for v-neck. So now you connect front and back. No more sleeve for a little while. You just have to knit back and forth. Make sure repeat row number 1 to row number 4 without increasing raglan line, because I finish raglan line before v-neck. So you still have to create the v-neck shape. All right. So if you're the other way around, you know, you already finish v-neck first, you have to actually watch where I'm talking about closing v-neck first, and then come back here. All right. So next, I guess I want to talk about how to close v-neck, connect everything, which means I meet you right on row number 4. I stop row number 3, so I still have to increase last v-neck part. I'm on the row number 4. All right, and this is my last increase for v-neck. Everybody should be same, because increasing on row number 4, right? So I'm going to increase, all right, first stitch, then knit around. Okay, let's do that together. Knit 1, and here is make 1 left, right? So pick up second from the top and knit there, and there we go. Just knit around after increase last v-neck. And I need to have 2 markers. One is clip-on, one is just a regular marker. Anyway, knit around, then this time I have to do make 1 right at the end, right? 1 stitch down, pick up, and knit. So this is it. I finish v-neck finally. And now I have to connect. I'm going to add begin marker first. That's my new begin. Then I am going to add mid stitch at the very bottom of V-neck, which is just a new cast, same as armpit area, but this time only one, because at the bottom of the V-neck. Then start knitting. So now you connect whole body. By the way, the stitch you just added, that's going to be mid stitch, and I don't want you to forget about that. So you can actually add clip-on marker right at the mid stitch, right there. Well, you don't need to, but I just want to make sure which one is the mid stitch. So, you know, the begin marker carries on, right? So, there you go. So, let's look. I separate the two sleeves and I connect V-neck, right? I add mid stitch marker as well. And let's see. From top, 11 inch. Do you remember? You know, my plan was 11 inch, 10.88 inch from top. So there you go, 11 inch. However, I want to show you, if you keep knitting and knitting, you know, the sweater gets heavier. So because of the gravity, this V-neck becomes a little deeper. All right? So just be aware of it. Now I want to talk about the pocket. This is optional. Inch after V-neck, I put the clip-on marker for the pocket. Make sure it's right on the center. Okay? Then knit until the first pocket marker. I think I took about 20 inch or less. And then I just want you to make sure you have one extra stitch, mid stitch. Okay? So don't count mid stitch. Otherwise, the left side have one stitch extra, right? So you have to count from the mid stitch. Anyway, just knit until the first pocket marker. This is quite easy, but you have to count rows after this. And remove the clip-on marker. Use the contrast color of scrap yarn. I use red, so it's easy to see. And this is quite important. Use the scrap yarn and then start knitting the pocket section, which means until the other side of the pocket marker, like this. And then remove the pocket marker. You don't need it anymore. And turn the work because it's easier for me. And now you can cut the end tail because you're not going to use any more yarn. Then transfer all the contrast yarn, scrap yarn stitches onto right side again. Transfer back. There you go, almost done. And then turn around again, and now you're face to right side, and start knitting with your yarn. That's it. And now you have to count rows. And whenever you have to kind of imagine how, long you want for your pocket, right? And then just knit around until whenever you feel like you want to finish the pocket. Okay? But the one thing I have to tell you is the pocket row start on knitting row. Okay? Because pocket is just a one flat piece. So it's going to be right side and wrong side. So I finish just about the end, start with 33 row. Anyway, start with knit and end with knit row. So, well, you don't really have to worry about it too much because it's cable needle. But, just remember, start with knit and end with knit stitch. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I knit 33 rows and I am going to increase every 4 rows, which means I am going to increase 8 stitch gradually, right? So the orange marker is right bottom of the where the pocket starts, right? And then I will increase 8 stitch. So the green marker is where the pocket starts after I increase. You know what I'm saying? There we go. So turn around and let's start knitting the pocket. But before that, I need other sets of needle. I'm going to picking up the stitch, the bottom of the red yarn and top of the red yarn, and make sure of the direction of the needle. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is cut this red yarn. I'm sorry, for a little while I'm not showing you the right place, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Try to cut the red yarn carefully and picking up the 2 stitches at the same time, the right side of the red yarn and left side of the red yarn, top and bottom, with different needles. Okay, I will show you soon. And make sure you pick every single stitches. Okay, right here. Now you can see this is the bottom stitch, left side of the red yarn, and with the other needle you need to pick up right side of the red yarn. This is the reason why you have to use contrast color of yarn, so it's easy for you to see. Right, there we go. Now you can see. Take your time. You don't have to be in rush. Also, if you prepared for pocket, you can't go back. You have to do it. So if you watch this video and, well, this is maybe tough to do, I'm not gonna do it, don't do it. All right? But a lot of people likes pocket, right? So it's actually fun to do if you can be patient. Little by little. Don't just, take red yarn first and try to pick up the stitches. It's gonna be nightmare. Okay, so one by one. You know, this red yarn will be guiding you. Okay, so just take your time. More stitch, picking up, more time. There you go. This creates big gap like that. There we go. Now I have to close that gap. Okay, so leave the original working yarn right there and use other ball of yarn. All right, there we go. And this is my other needle, and you grab two needle with your left hand because I'm right-handed, and you close the gap by knit two together. The bottom and top stitch knit two together, not side by side. Okay, pick one from bottom needle and pick one from top, and you knit those two together to close the gap. That's about it. And this is row number 1. Remember, the first row for pocket and last row for pocket should be knitting, which means I'm facing to right side of the pocket. Knit two together and little by little. And of course, before you do this, you have to count stitches. You know, both needle has to have same stitch count. Otherwise, you can't close the gap, right? There we go. Take your time. The bottom one, top one, knit it together. And drop 2 stitch off at the same time, obviously. And after 5 stitch, I add markers because first 5 stitch and last 5 stitch, I'm gonna do the garter stitch, which is both right side and wrong side. It's gonna be knitting stitch, because if you do stockinette stitch at both ends, it's gonna curl up, which I don't want. So it's really up to you, but there you go. And just keep knitting until the end. And don't worry about it. The hardest part for the pocket is right here. So after that, super easy. So row number 1, just knit 2 together and add marker before last 5 stitch. So it's kind of, you know, prep row as well, right? And again, the pocket is just a flat knitting. So right side and wrong side. And the first 5 and last 5 always knit on right side and wrong side. So this is pocket row number 2, wrong side, knit 5 and all purl and knit 5. That's it. And row number 3, I am going to increase 1 stitch inside of the 2 markers. Anyway, let's finish the row number 2. So last 5 should be all knit, even though you're knitting on wrong side, because it has to be garter stitch to prevent the curled up a bit. Okay, so row number 3, increasing. If you just want to, have a pocket straight down, you don't need to have increasing. Okay, so it's really up to you. And where you need to increase, after 5 stitch and before 5 stitch. So here comes, I knit 5, slide the marker, and right here I'm going to do make 1 right. Forget about the left side of the marker or right side of the marker here. Okay, this side make 1 right, and the other side make 1 left. And here comes, this is last stitch, and knit original, then make 1 left. So second stitch down, previous, left side of the stitch, pick up, then knit there. That's about it. This is row number 3, right? Oh, I'm doing again. I think I picked wrong stitch or something. And I lost marker, so I'm gonna grab another marker. And then knit 5. And row number 4, wrong side, all purl except first and last 5 stitch. And you just have to repeat row number 1 and row number 4, row number 1 to row number 4, until the same rows for your body. Here comes. I knitted it about 32 rows, and next 33 rows, and has to be knitting side. And for the body, same thing. It's end of row number 33 I mean. Okay, so I cut the pocket working yarn, because I'm not gonna use, I have a working yarn already, right? So here's the thing, I didn't finish row 33 for the body, because now I have to attach the pocket. So on the side of the sweater, I was kind of waiting that I finish the pocket, right? So now I knit until the green marker. Do you remember the green marker, which is the pocket starts, the original pocket length plus 8 stitch, because I increase 8 stitch total for each side. So anyway, there we go. Remove the marker and do the same thing. Knit two together, the bottom and top stitch. And I don't really have to explain, right? You have to close the bottom of the pocket now. So make sure every, extra yarn is at the back, and there you go, knit two together. So you just have to be careful. You're knitting right stitch with the pocket stitch. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, pocket go kind of shifting right or left, not straight down, right? And again, this is knitted together from bottom and top, then drop 2 stitch down at the same time. That's about it. Simple. The hardest part is cutting the scrap yarn and then picking up the 2 stitches, right? That's about it. Anyway, after the pocket, you can keep knitting the body until your desired length. That's what you have to actually think too. How long you want, and you're adding the pocket right time or not, right? I didn't want to start rib right away, so I knit about inch and a half, something like that. Now the pocket has done attached. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay guys, almost done. I knitted it about more than 1 inch after the pocket, and now I am going to knit ribs, so I changed the needle to 4 millimeter, one size down. There you go. Add biggie marker. The other needle I already changed, and start making rib, which is repeat off, knit 1 and purl 1. You just have to be very careful with first row, and from the second row you just knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch until your desired length. Almost done. And after you knit desired length for the rib, I'm going to do stretchy cast off, which is easy. Use bigger needle. One side is only, all I need to change. So now I'm go back to 5 millimeter needle, then bind off. To change the needle to bigger size means slightly you use more yarn to knit, right? That gives you little stretchy. I don't really like the tight end or the wrist or even neck. So I use bigger needle to bind off. And whenever you bind off, kind of, bind off loosely, not too tight. So don't pull yarn too hard. That's about it for the body. Okay, so this is done. At the very bottom, stretchy. It's not tight. And I already made 1 sleeve. As you can see, nice, evenly decreased for the sleeve. All right, it's not balloon sleeve this time. And I did the stretchy cast off as well. So the part 2, this is it. All right, and I will talk about how to knit sleeves and V-neck in part 3. So see you soon. Enjoy knitting. Bye for now.